I've been competing in Apex Legends ever since it came out. I've seen the game develop with the ever-changing meta, new playstyles, cheeses, and techniques, and it's safe to say that the professional Apex Legends players have a certain refinement to their playstyle that you can't see in the average player. In competitive gaming, every team fights at such a high level that anything to tip the scales 1% can be the decider in winning the battle. And as such, professional players always look for ways to optimize, improve, and make things more consistent. That being said, it seems that in the Apex scene, a lot of ideas and concepts are thought of, but very rarely analyzed or turned into rules of thumb so they can be pulled off consistently. As such, I decided to take some common professional Apex Legends techniques and make them better and easier and more consistent when pulling off. These are 5 of the things that I've stolen from competitive Apex and added to my own gameplay and improved on. And now I'm gonna share them with you. Gibraltar Counter. Gibraltar is one of the most oppressive legends in competitive play. He's almost a must pick in high tier ranked and in professional Apex, seeing a near 100% pick rate. His 45 passive and gun shield helps, but the main reason is for the bubble, which allows you to make an infinite amount of plays, either defensively or aggressively. There's not really much you can do to a team inside of a Gibraltar bubble, especially not in a lobby where there's many teams around. But you can time your throwables and even focus fire to the bubble going down in order to easily surprise the enemy team and wipe them out without giving them a real chance to fight back. This works because Gibraltar's bubble has a 12-second duration. After the 12-second mark, it immediately goes down and exposes anyone within. What some people don't know is that the Gibraltar bubble actually lets you know when there are 5 seconds left before it goes away. That's when the beam in the middle starts shifting and flickering, and this sound plays. Why is this important? Because this allows you to time when the bubble goes down to surprise your enemies with gunfire, especially if they're cowering inside of the bubble. But you can take this to the next level by using grenades. If you place an arc star on the top of the bubble, it will fall down and explode on the unsuspecting enemies once it closes. To accomplish this, you need to hit the arc star in the small window where the arc star won't blow up before the bubble goes down. The arc star takes 2.8 seconds to explode, so that's our window. Throwing an arc star takes some time, so if you see a team playing bubble and you want to make this play, either start counting from when the bubble drops or when the 5-second indicator starts. If you do so, wait 2 seconds for the and then throw your arc star and wait for a devastating effect. You can also keep stacking arc stars on the bubble to your heart's content. So keep in mind that if you hit the arc star within the last second of the bubble collapsing, the enemy team has over 2 seconds to react and get out of the way. Meaning that the closer you get to that 9.2 second mark, the less time the enemy team has to react. Threading the needle is vital. If you don't have an arc star handy, you can somewhat accomplish the same with a frag grenade. Instead, the frag grenade has a 4-second arm time. Line up the grenade for a vertical insta-nade and throw it 1 second after the to deal massive damage and throw the enemy team all over the place. If you don't know how to line up frag grenades, make sure to subscribe because I'll be covering that in a future video. This can also be accomplished with some specific abilities, but I haven't gone through all the timings yet. Let me know if you guys want to see more of those in the comments. Recoil smoothing and jitter aiming. Recoil doesn't work the same way in Apex as in other shooters. In some shooters like Warzone or Fortnite, the recoil has a random bloom in an area and can't be controlled without randomly getting lucky or bursting. Other more established shooters such as Counter-Strike Global Offensive and Valorant have set recoil patterns where the recoil always will go in the same way, and as such can be countered by moving your aim in the opposite pattern to get a clean spray in. For the longest time, Apex players thought that this was the best way to practice recoil and control sprays, but content creator and aimer Torjay found out not 1 but 2 ways to abuse your way into no recoil in Apex. The first method, called recoil smoothing, abuses a feature put in the game to make it easier for players to track a moving target, where if you smoothly pull your aim in one direction faster than 3.74 degrees a second, you will have virtually no recoil. Obviously, you're going to run out of target to shoot if you keep going in one direction, but you can continue the recoil smoothing by mirroring your opponent's movement. Torjay explains that recoil smoothing is viable for up to 70 meters if you're anti-mirroring an enemy's movement, which I have covered in another video, which is available on the screen now. The second and more well-established method is called jitter aim, and the reason I'll list this later is because it abuses the same mechanic that recoil smoothing is built on. Oscillation and jitter aiming involves you shaking or oscillating your mouse in a pattern, shaking or twisting your mouse in a pattern where you draw a small circle in between every shot. As such, this is easier to pull off on certain guns such as the Rampage, Havoc, or Flatline, and near impossible on really fast guns such as the R301 or the R99 or the Devotion. Across all meta changes in the ever-evolving game, there's been 2 styles of play that have been remaining consistent. A team can decide to either play zone, where they try to predict the zone, rotate early, and take a good position, either for the final ring or to get good control in the mid to late game, or to play edge, where they instead instead decide to go for power positions and catching teams rotating in or forcing fights and playing aggressive to net kill points. Edge playing has evolved to another level where some teams rotate to zones and stay right outside of the edge of the ring, specifically right on top of replicators. They collect crafting materials and craft several medkits while upgrading the gear to 1. Give them the best possible gear, and 2. Let them stay in a good position without getting contested, while other teams rotate deeper into zone and end up getting stuck or fight each other. If you play all the way outside of zone, you can wait for teams inside of the zone to start fighting each other to then easily third party, since nobody expects you to come from outside of the ring. You can also play the slow game and take power positions if an opportunity presents itself. Crafting may take a while, so don't miss out on the opportunity to click on that like and subscribe button to not miss out on any daily bangers. Next up, we have the OOB play. We saw this one a lot in the recent Apex Legends Global Series Pro League playoffs. What a mouthful. And it's been a great tactic to get the absolute most of the Valkyrie meta. We're of course talking about the out of bounds play. Setting this up is easy. All you have to do is start a Valkyrie ult with your teammates and then land on a high ground that's out of bounds. You might slide or get a chance to stand still for 15 seconds before you die. This small time window gives you a great high ground on any team that might be below you, where you and your teammates can rain down with grenades and gunfire and either getting a knock or at the very least dealing enough damage so you can turn the fight once you're finally forced to drop down. You ideally want to drop a Gibraltar bubble when you're going to land so you don't get beamed while you are stuck and affected by the fall stun. Try to drop when you have about 5 seconds left, since the timer sometimes doesn't go away despite you leaving the out of bounds area. Keep in mind, in the latest season, Season 13 Saviors, they actually have nerfed a few of these features, but I wrote this script way before. While you are out of bounds, you cannot use Legends abilities, weapons, ordinances, and survival items, healing items, or active passives such as Valk's jetpacks. This is a pretty severe nerf to out of bounds plays, but you can still make rotations happen. Just make sure not to get any attention to yourself, and you can still catch a team off guard, and a Gibraltar, for example, can still drop a bubble as soon as you leave the out of bounds timered area. And finally, kidnapping. Kidnapping is a technique that's barely used anywhere outside of competitive play. Maybe in higher ranked, and that's in part probably because it is difficult to pull off and part relying on the enemies catering to a certain playstyle. To pull off a kidnap, all you need to do is climb to a height as a wraith, jump, and start your portal while you are midair. Then, run towards an enemy team and face if you take fire or once you are really close, you want to place your portal in a way so that your enemies accidentally walk into the portal and get sent back to your teammates who are waiting on the other side. If you get nabbed by a kidnap, there's barely anything you can do to fight back. That being said, players have learned about this strategy and will stand still if they see a wraith initiating a kidnap. If you find that your enemy stands still, you can pull a Hakis by sliding at the end, dropping your portal, and then once you've slid past your enemy, you can actually punch them. This will send them flying, probably into the portal, and turn them into easy kills. Then all you need to do is enter the portal yourself to get back safely. It is by no means easy to pull off, but in reality there is no counterplay to a skilled kidnap, and as such any wraith should keep it in their back pocket. If you have a good position and you aren't going to use your portal for a few zones, you might as well give it a try. Afterwards, you can also engage the team and take the fight when they're one man down. And they very rarely will expect you to take the same portal right back into them. Anyways, those are 5 things that I stole from professional Apex. If you guys want to see me analyzing the final moments of the ALGS LAN, that video is available on the screen now. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow.